There we go. There we go. I got my mic on now. Hold on. Hold on. The mic should be ready. Turning on the mic. There we go. There we go. I got my mic on now. Hold on. Hold on. All right. My mic is ready. I am ready. Matt is here. Hello, Matt. How are you? The Root Matt. Welcome to the live stream, buddy. Welcome to the live stream. I don't know what you said that got redacted because YouTube is very censorious. I do have the chat adjusted appropriately, though. Yeah, we're on live chat, so I should get most things through. You have to use code if you say something spicy. I don't know. We'll do a little bit of a pre-game warm-up while we wait for people to get here, if people come in. And here is JEC, right on time. Hi. It's JEC, ladies and gentlemen. Always here in the chat. So I was at the Ocean City Comic Con today, right, Little Joan? Little Joan. Poor Little Joan had to guard the house all alone. Yeah, Ocean City Comic Con was... It was a weird weekend because the first day, oh my God, the weather. It was damp and cold, and it was foggy, like foggy coming off the ocean, and it covered the entire boardwalk, and people were in their jackets. It was like friggin' wintertime. But it was still like in the 50s, but people were cold because of the dampness and I guess the wind, but no, there wasn't much wind because of the fog. It was like people were walking through, you know, that mist, and they were miserable. And, but they came out, and I sold more books on Saturday in the crappy weather than I did today, and it was gorgeous today. Oh, it was beautiful. Beautiful sunny day, 60 degrees. Everybody came out. The guy who has the DeLorean car was there. So the Back to the Future DeLorean was there. Who else was there? My friend Corey, the actor, was there. A few other artists, other writers were there. Steve, I can never say his last name. I want to say Fracas, but I don't think that's the way you say his name. I think it's Farrakis was there. He's a horror writer. Ooh, that reminds me. I got to call about the Jersey Devil Con. His son was there. He made a video game, which I didn't get a chance to see because I was at my table. I go to these shows and I never get to see anything because I'm at my table the whole time. Dan and Mary, of course. If you've been on the con circuit, you know Dan and Mary. They're at every con just about, selling comics and whatnot. So it was a pretty good day for me. Pretty decent. For fall, is it fall in March? Are we not in spring yet? I think we're in spring. I think we're technically at the beginning of spring. But I mean, you know, we're just getting out of it. Another week, another less than a week left to go. Joan, you big mouth. Oh, your breath stinks on ice, dog. It just stinks on ice. Anyhow, what are we going to talk about tonight, doggy? Oh, we're talking about movies. We're talking about box office. That's right, doggy. That's right. We're talking about John Wick. Did it break the box office? It did pretty good. So we'll get into that. And we'll talk about Jonathan Majors. I don't know what the hell happened to him. This came out of left field. So yeah, and a few other stories that are brewing. Let's get right into the box office, though. Once again, my preferred website, The Numbers, is just gone. I don't know what happened to it. If anybody knows what happened to The Numbers, did they change the name of their site or lose their domain name or something? Somebody buy them out just to shut them down? I don't even know. Root Matt says, yeah, John Wick 4 was good movie. Was a good movie. What do you mean by that? Why are you being so cagey, the Root Matt? Don't be so cagey. we're all friends here. You could tell us your true movie feelings. I'll guess that it's kind of the same as all the other John Wick movies. Like, the first one's great. I love the first one. I like the second one. I can't even remember if I saw the third one. And that's the problem. They kind of blend into each other. You know, and I'm sure the fourth one's great. Not great, but good. I mean, Donnie Yen's in it, right? So, I'm sure it's action-packed, but, you know, it wasn't meant... I don't think initially they thought of this as a giant franchise that was going to go 4 movies. It just was a hit, and they did the best they could, you know. So, you know, I'm sure it's fun. I'm sure it's very watchable. I'm sure I'm going to like it. But I hope this is the last one. I would hate to see this go to the point where it's just bleh. The movie was good, but it was, for me, short, the Root Matt says. Oh, well, that, to me, that's a ringing endorsement, because movies have gone on far too long for me. Far too long. I welcome some short movies, despite the ticket price. I think movies, you know, Ant-Man and the Wasp, one of the, you know, it's just super long. I didn't see it, but I don't want to see it because it's too long. JC, I was meh on the first one. It was fine. All the sequels are the same movie, pretty much, says JC. Yeah. Yeah, I that's a fair assessment, I think. I mean, I like the first one because he kills everybody because they kill his dog. And that hit home for me. Right, little Joan? Oh, I'll kill a MFers for you, Joan. Don't you worry. Any MFers hurt you, they're going down, Joan. Oh, John Wick will look like a Girl Scout compared to what I will do if they touch a hair on your cute little head, Joan. Let it be known. But 73 million, not too shabby. Not too shabby for Lionsgate. Thank God they got a movie. I got like 3 stock in Lionsgate. And, you know, the moment I bought it, it was like the kiss of death. It went down. This is not financial advice. Or rather, this is terrible financial advice. The second I bought in, it was like, boom. But hopefully this brings the stock back. I mean, this is a hit movie, right? 73 million, that's not bad. I think it'll do probably about as well as Creed 3. Kyle Yurisuki. Welcome, Kyle. Yeah, after the first, it was just gratuitous violence, but entertaining. Yeah. Yeah, and the real shame is the movie that had so much potential for sequels, a Keanu Reeves movie like that, was The Matrix. You know, they really should have stopped at 1, and they kind of ruined it with the other 2. 3. Sorry, 3. There was 3. I don't know what they were thinking there. But at least with the Matrix movie, there was all this mythos to draw from. I think the problem with John Wick is there wasn't... It was a very sort of skin-deep movie, right? Like, it was good, but there wasn't a lot to it. So to, like, roll out all this extra, oh, this goes deep. John Wick goes deep. It doesn't really. The Root Matt, Ant-Man 3 is confusing, silly, meaningless, and a quee? What's a quee? Did I just set you up for a joke? And a quee? Q? Do you mean Q? I'm not sure. Yeah, Ant-Man it's a shame. I was so on board to see Ant-Man. I was trying to ignore all the bad press. You know, I really wanted it to be good because I liked the first one. I liked the second one too. You know, it's a little insufferable, but it's fine. I thought it was fine. And the setup was good. You know, but quite frankly, I think Jonathan Majors, now looking back on it, is probably the wrong guy to cast for Kang. Looking at him in Creed 3, that seems like a movie for him. I mean, he seems really well suited for the Creed 3 role. You know, Now, one could argue, well, he's a good actor. He could be in anything. I guess. I don't know. He doesn't strike me like Kang the Conqueror. To me, is a guy who's got to be like a young Christopher Lee, right? Like a guy with so much gravitas, that you go, oh, this guy's an evil genius. And Jonathan Majors, you know, I mean, he's not dumb, but he doesn't strike me as an evil genius. You know, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, he kind of fit that role. He's also a good actor too. I think that Kang was an opportunity for them to cast an older veteran actor who really could have knocked it out of the park. And there used to be a million of these guys all over the place. And now they either just don't cast them, or I don't know where they are. They're dead. I don't know. The route map. I think Creed 3 is good but bad. Oh, really? Please clarify. Interesting comment. I mean, it looks fine to me. You know, that's another, though, franchise. It's like the whole Rocky-verse thing is like getting a little out of control. Like, how many more of these movies are you going to do? Okay, now we're going to do Drago. All right, I guess we're going to do 3 more boxing movies, only with the son of Drago. I think that's just too much. Like, a couple of these movies would have been cool, I guess. Like, if they had done, like, Creed, and then Drago, and then Creed versus Drago, something like that, that would have been kind of cool, right? But, meanwhile, like, Sylvester Stallone's been kicked out of the whole thing, which I think doesn't bode well, you know, for the fans. At least give the guy an amazing death scene. Kyle, I get the feel they see Marvel going down the pan. Marvel needs them now rather than people needing Marvel. JC, they cast him as Kang because he looks like George Floyd. It's cringe. You think? I don't think. Does it? Well, I guess a little bit he does. I don't know. To me, it was such an opportunity to cast a guy as Kang. The only guy I can think of is Christopher Lee, but there's got to be another guy that I'm sure would be amazing with a devious English accent, because, you know. The route Matt, the same formula, a character who did not even appear in the previous 2. Ah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay. I mean, I did like the pitch. The pitch seemed fine. But Kyle, to your point, I get the feeling they see Marvel going down the pan. I think you mean down the tubes. Is that what you mean? Marvel needs them now rather than the people needing Marvel. I think it's just like part of it is what they're calling superhero fatigue. I mean, they're just effing it up. If the movies were good, it wouldn't matter. We would still have a little of that fatigue, but people would be like, oh, yeah, I went to see Marvel. I'm getting tired of that. Oh, but it was good. Instead, it's like, yeah, I went to go see the Marvel movies. Oh, God, I'm so tired of that. Oh, yeah, it wasn't very good. And that's the death knell. That's the absolute death knell. I mean, really, Thor 4, that put the capper on it that things were going bad, right? Thor 4, that was like, oh, yeah, we've jumped the shark here. They should have never done that movie. And Ant-Man 3 was just like icing on the cake on that concept. You know, they've lost it. They've completely lost their damn minds. They're trying to develop. They've overdeveloped these movies. You know, Ant-Man and the Wasp should have been a simple movie, right? It should have been a very simple movie. Casey shouldn't have even been in it. You know, this whole idea. Oh, we got to have Casey, and she's got to be an angry young woman who takes charge. She shouldn't even have been in the movie. She should have been out of the movie. They could have kept her a little girl or a youngish girl instead of. I don't know how she got to be a teenager. Like, how much time has passed in these movies? And the blip was the dumbest thing Marvel ever did. The dumbest thing. The one, look, they had this device in the movie, this Thanos snap thing, they could have reset everything. They could have said, yep, snap, everybody's back. We're good to go here. Kyle, I meant can, but autocorrect. LOL. I meant can. Oh, okay. I meant can. I get the feeling they see Marvel going down the can. Oh, okay. Now I get it. Cultural differences on the phrase, but yeah, down the tubes works. Yeah, autocorrect. I guess you're on your phone. The whole Marvel thing now is they're ruining it. And now I think, to me, it looks like they're getting out. They're getting out now. Or at least they're really slowing the ship down to mostly get out of it. Because I don't think they got the money to make these movies anymore. I think they're really cutting back. I mean, they're trying to cut $5.5 billion out of their budget. I don't think they could fire enough people. Oh, they're firing 7,000 workers? Okay, that's a start. How much money could those people be worth? All right, let's say every one of those 7,000 people makes $100,000 a year on average, if you average them all out. All right, so 7 would be 700,000. 10, or let's say 70 would be $7 million. 700 would be $70 million, and 7,000 would be $700 million. Okay, that's a start. Now you only got $4.8 billion to go. The Root Mat. And well, what do you think about the Super Mario Brothers movie? I think video game movies don't work. At least I haven't really seen one that worked. I think it'll be as we say in comics, a fan favorite. Meaning people will go see it, but I don't think it'll be a good movie. It might be it might be pretty watchable with Chris Pratt and Charlie Day. But I don't think it'll be a good movie. It'll be serviceable, I suppose. The rumor is, though, they're girl bossing Princess Peach, and that's gonna kill it for the nerds. The nerds are gonna go absolutely ballistic when they see that, and they will trash the movie. And then it'll do okay, and then it's basically a 90-minute commercial for Nintendo and whatever new Mario Brothers game is coming out. So I think it'll do fine, but ultimately I think it's pointless. Most of these video games movies have been pointless. You know, on the one hand, they're either based on a property that doesn't have a story, really, like Mario Brothers. Didn't really have much of a story to pull from. I mean, and then on the other hand, they have too much of a story, right? Like if you did the movie for Red Dead Redemption, I've already seen that movie. I played the game. So like it would be kind of pointless. So, okay, we're gonna do a Red Dead Redemption movie. All right, yeah, that was the movie I saw. It doesn't. So I don't know. I don't see, unless you had a movie like GTA 3, if you remember that was the one before Vice City. The protagonist in GTA 3 had no name. He was just a generic guy that was your character running around the city committing crimes. You could take that character, give him a name, give him a whole deal, and because you can make up all the stuff, I could do something with that, and it would just be called Grand Theft Auto New York or whatever, and it would just be a crime movie. And it'd be good or bad. It wouldn't be dependent upon the video game. So what would be the point? You might as well just make a movie. Why saddle the movie with the licensing fee? I can't think of I'm trying to think of a video game that would make a good movie. I mean, It is 2:21 in London, says the Root Matt. Well, watch out for Jack the Ripper, I guess. Kyle, only thing I'm hoping for, movie-wise, is Kathleen Kennedy potentially being fired if she doesn't drop a profitable Star Wars film this year. Haha. Good luck with that. I think Kathleen Kennedy is on her way out, and I think Indiana Jones will probably seal the deal. They spent so much damn money on that movie, I think, because they've been reshooting it a bunch of times. So you'll remember it was being shot during the pandemic originally, I think, or at least part of it was. Then Harrison Ford got injured, and they had to delay it. Then they got out of the pandemic. They still had issues with the pandemic stuff, and they shot a bunch of stuff. But they did the scrapbooking thing that they do, which is dumb and stupid. And then the leaks from Doomcock came out, and they had 6 different versions of this movie, was the rumor. They tested all 6 of them, and they all failed. Everybody hated all of them because they all ended with Indiana Fleabag, his sidekick, his goddaughter Helena, becoming the new Indiana Jones in one way or another. And audiences rightfully hated it. So they had a real problem, and then they went back and reshot again. And the rumor is they cut Helena out of a good portion of the film. And now she's more of a damsel in distress. And I guess they added a bunch of scenes with Harrison Ford. Or I don't know what. I don't know what they did. So it sounds like it's going to be an absolute dumpster fire. They spent an ton of money on it. It was, again, another movie that was unnecessary. After what happened in the 4th movie, they kind of wrapped it up. What they could have done is rebooted with a new guy. That would have been better, I think. Completely reboot Indiana Jones. Or what they could have done is what they sort of planned to do. They planned to give the hat to Shia LaBeouf, who played his son, Mutt. What they could have done is recast him and then said, okay, here's the new Mutt Jones. He's the new Indiana Jones in the 50s, and he's a young guy, and he's going to do Indiana Jones stuff. Oh, and here's Harrison Ford to make an appearance. And then, or you could have made him the dad to the new guy, right? You could have made the Mutt character the dad to the new guy, and Harrison Ford, appropriately, being the grandfather of whoever was the new Indiana Jones. JC, you hear Doomcock's leak about the plot of the Marvels? Sounds like a bad Rick and Morty episode because Rick and Morty writer wrote it. Yeah, I have heard that, and it sounds, the whole movie's awful, in my view. So, JEC's going to explain it. Basically, they switch bodies every time one of them uses their powers, no matter where they are in the universe. Sounds like a cluster F. Yeah, it makes no sense. Why would... First off, Captain Marvel's already used her powers. So, that didn't happen before. Secondly, Ms. Marvel has used her powers, and I believe Monica Rambeau has used her powers too. So what the F? Now suddenly this is all happening? Okay, I guess that's the plot of the movie, but God, what a stupid plot that is. It's just an excuse to get the 3 of them together, I guess. And 3 of the least popular characters in Marvel, too. So, you've got Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, which was a retrofit of the highest order by the Wokies at Marvel in the comic books. They brought back Ms. Marvel, Carol Danvers, and made her Captain Marvel. Made 0 sense. She was a completely different character. She had 0 to do with space stuff, from what I understand. And she died. And they brought her back to life because, IPs never die in the comic book universe, I guess. Next, you got Ms. Marvel, a character that Again, was never very popular in the comics. They kept bringing her back. They couldn't even do her real power from the comics in the show because I don't know, they either the CGI was too clumsy or it just looked stupid. And why they, this whole Kamala Khan, the my understanding, the executive they based the character on, pushed this through, and that they let her. Everybody connected to her hiring should be fired, and then she should be fired. If I ran the studio, oh my God, heads would roll. I'd close down the entire Marvel division and I'd nuke it from orbit and start over. I'd find Jim Shooter wherever he is and put him in charge. So then you got Monica Rambeau, Photon they call her. I'm not sure. Is she the original? There was a Captain Marvel in the 80s who was black. A black woman who had light powers. I think that's the character. And, yeah, she was Captain Marvel in the 80s. She had taken over. I don't even remember her origin, but I remember her being in the Avengers. She was okay, I guess. And for a long time, I kept yelling at Brie Larson like, hey, shut up. You should shut up about all your woke crap, Brie, because the real Captain Marvel was Monica Rambeau or whoever it was. I forget her name. I guess that was her. And now here she is to take her spot, the big dope. Brie Larson has handled her stardom very, very poorly, in my view. There's a lot of arrogant a-holes in Hollywood, but Brie Larson, man, that talk about top of the list, in my view. JC, yeah, Rambeau was the Captain Marvel in the white costume. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I remember that from the 80s. She was a fine character back then. I don't remember what happened to her eventually. I think I stopped reading Avengers before she left. And it's like, Marvel's so stupid. Everybody at Disney, they're idiots in my view. You had the original Captain Marvel. What a story that would have been. They could have started with that story. The first Captain Marvel movie, had they started with that story, Endgame would have been a completely different animal. Because, for those of you who don't remember, this is a character back in the 70s. And the idea was his superpower was killing him. Slowly. The Root Mat. The 80s were very cool. They're okay. I don't know. I didn't think they were cool while I was living in them. I had a lot of complaints, but I complain about a lot of stuff. So, looking back on it, yeah, sure. Sure, give me a time machine. I'll go back there right now. But at the time, I was a kid, so I was a teenager complaining about everything. I was already into grunge before the 80s was over. I swear to God I was. I was wearing the flannel shirts and the torn jeans. looking like a wayward Kurt Cobain with like darker hair. Why everybody else had like big hair and colorful day glow pants and stuff. I was grunge before it was grunge. Yeah, so they could have done the original Captain Marvel where you do a movie and he's fighting the aliens he fought, the Skrull, I think, and he's kicking taking names, but then he figures out that he's dying. I think he dies of cancer. He's dying from using his power. And then at the end of the movie, for whatever reason, he ends up on Earth and he's either stuck there or he's retired because he knows if he puts on the powers, he'll die. And then you do Endgame, and the only way to save the Earth is Captain Marvel has to come out of retirement, and he kills himself saving the Avengers and saving the day. That would have been, what an ending that would have been. JC, listening to the Pixies and REM, LOL. Are you losing your religion? The Pixies. The only song I know is there's a superhero song for a superhero named Tony. Obviously, I know that song. Everybody told me about it when it came out. I like Frank Black, though. I like his solo work. REM had its moments. I don't know. They were whiny. Used to play them on the college station. I was not like a college radio guy, though. I didn't like the music. I worked on the college radio stations. I worked on both of them. One was the real college radio station. The other was the classic rock station. And that's the one I liked the music. The other one I didn't like. But I worked on it anyway. I hosted the double feature where I had to play an album all the way through, but I had to talk through part of it so people wouldn't record it. JC, Pixies did Where Is My Mind? Oh yeah, that's a good song. It's a song, right? That's not the album. The Root Matt, well, I have a question. What is your favorite album of the Beatles? Revolver. I like Revolver. Yes, I love the Beatles. I'm not ashamed to admit it. The Beatles were good. The Beatles started so much. They were just doing it all, man. I love them. So, there's only like one bad Beatles song. It's called Mr. Moonlight, and it's terrible, but even that's not too bad. All the rest of the songs, I defy you to find one that's really, truly terrible. JC, I like Let It Be. Yeah, that's a good one. They're all great. I mean, in my view, I love the Beatles. I just put on the Beatles while I'm working. I get into my Beatles phase. I just let Beatles play. Right now I'm back into the Rolling Stones, but I was all a classic rock guy. Stones, Beatles, Who, not so much the Who anymore for me, but Hendrix, all that stuff. I'll play that all day long. I am not ashamed. I am not ashamed to love boomer rock. JC, White Album has lots of bad songs on it. I don't know. Mr. Moonlight, I think, because back in college, I had a friend who was the absolute authority on the Beatles. He did a show. He hosted a Beatles show, and became a DJ later. He held a pretty extensive vote, and Mr. Moonlight won out as the worst Beatles song. The Root Matt, Revolver has my favorite song, Paperback Writer. Yeah, that's a good one. JC, early Beatles don't hold up. Everything after Rubber Soul is all-time great. I love Beatles at the Hollywood Bowl because it's got their cover of Long Tall Sally, Little Richard. Ardent, Come Together Right Now Over Me. Hello, Ardent. Hey from me and Stormy. Hello, Stormy as well. Welcome. We're talking Beatles. I don't know how we got into Beatles. Yeah, I love the Beatles. I even like Imagine. And people hate that song, but I think it's fine. I think it's a good song. You may not like the lyrics when you get down into the politics, but who cares? It's just a song. It's just a hippie song. Carter Chain is here. Boomer rock is old but gold era. It is my personality. It is your personality. JC, White Album has a lot of their best songs. It also has 36 songs on it, and they're not all bangers. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I even like Her Majesty's a Pretty Nice Girl, and that's just a little ditty. I even like the alternative stuff, like when they sang in German, the German cut. She Loves You. She liebt dich, ja, ja, ja. She liebt dich, ja, ja, ja. Ardent, hot take. CCR is better than the Beatles? Oh, come on. Let's not go down this path, Ardent. I love me some CCR. It's great. But the Root Matt. Also, Hello, Goodbye from the Yellow Submarine. Oh, Yellow Submarine, love it. I was in the Yellow Submarine play as a lad in grammar school. We put on the Yellow Submarine, but we had 5 Beatles because at the last minute there was a 5th kid, and he was the only one that could actually play an instrument. He could play guitar, so they added him. We called him Pete because that was supposed to be Pete Best. So we had 5 Beatles in the play, and I was Ringo. And I got to do, I got a hole in my pocket. Because, he's the funny one. But we didn't sing, I don't think. JC, Revelation number 9. Oh, Revolution number 9 is the Beatles' worst song. Who are you kidding? It is pretty bad. I mean, I would definitely put it up there, but Mr. Moonlight is bad. It's really bad. But then again, Mr. Moonlight is more of a song than Revolution number 9. I don't even consider Revolution number 9 a song, really. But you have a point. The Root Mat, Eleanor Rigby 2. I can't listen to Eleanor Rigby. It makes me sad. It actually makes me sad because it reminds me of sad times when I heard that song when I was a kid, and I'm not sure what it's connected to, but I always think of sad things. I guess the song I read the lyrics when I was a kid, and they made me sad. So I remember that, and I don't like to listen to that one. I skipped that track, but Ardent, Lovely Rita, Meter Maid. I love that song. That's a good one. I often think of that song whenever I'm putting money in the meter or see a meter maid. And then I'm tempted to sing a few lyrics, and then I go, no, the meter maid will give me a ticket if I call her Lovely Rita. Getting back to movies, John Wick crushing the competition. Creed 3 as number 2, doing okay at 10 million for the 4th week in a row. Doing 140 mil domestically. Yeah, we don't have international box office here. I really missed the numbers. I gotta find a new site. Shazam, Fury of the Gods dropping to 3. JC, Two of Us, the opener on Let It Be, one of their more underrated songs. Yeah, it's a good song. I mean, their 70s stuff is, to me, very different than their early stuff, their rock stuff. But it gets very experimental. Yeah, Shazam really just... It's a shame. A lot of people say it's a perfectly fine movie. Not great, but serviceable. And I think James Gunn killed this movie. I think James Gunn made a huge mistake announcing the lineup of the DCU. Why would you announce it before Shazam came out? Why? Why would you answer all those questions? Why not let Shazam, Fury of the Gods come out, and then let The Flash come out and just say, The Flash will answer all your questions. And then if Shazam never came back, people would at least go see it. And you might say, well, that's kind of sticking it to the fans. But they stick it to the fans anyway. And if you're going to be a team player, don't torpedo the previous guy's work, I say. JC, their 70s stuff, you mean like the one album they put out in the 70s that they recorded in the 60s and broke up? Yes. Yeah, late 60s stuff, it all got very, very 70s. It was very 70s. Look, they were still editing it. They were ahead of their time, dude. They were doing 70s stuff like before anybody was doing 70s stuff. They were always like ahead of the curve. But like Something in the Way She Moves. Like that sound permeated the 70s. And like George Harrison stuff and his solo stuff too. It's all very 70s. Joan, your face is so filthy. God. I wish I could scrub your face, but you wouldn't hold still for it. I gotta take you to the groomer at some point just to get him to wash your dirty face. So yeah, I think it's a shame James Gunn, kind of torpedoed these guys, because on the one hand, like Flash is the movie I'd love to see torpedoed, because I don't want to see Ezra Miller make out, but It's the only way they could fix it. They couldn't use Shazam to fix it. And I think it's a shame they're going to dump Shazam, and it seems like they are. I would have liked to have seen Shazam Black Adam. I think they could have made that work, but what are you going to do? Scream 6, I so don't care about this movie. I saw a kid, I got to tell this story. So I'm at the convention, and there's this like 5-year-old kid, and he's holding a Ghostface mask, and it's his favorite character. And his dad bought him a Ghostface poster, or a Scream poster, and then the dad's like, well, he hasn't seen the movie. And I've just thought to myself, but yeah, you're letting him make Ghostface his hero. At some point, he's going to want to see the Ghostface movie that he's either heard about, and you've made Ghostface his favorite thing in the world. Like, to me, I mean, I don't have kids, but I wouldn't let my kid make Ghostface his hero. I'd be like, no, you're too young for that. They take the Ghostface away and give him anything else. Like, right? Am I weird to want to do that? I don't know. Arden, didn't Kang get arrested too? Does that F Marvel? Oh, well, yeah, let's jump into that. So Jonathan Majors, this is from Variety, says evidence exists, or its lawyer says evidence exists to prove he's completely innocent of alleged assault. So apparently he got into a dust-up with his girlfriend. I don't know what happened, but I'll say this for his girlfriend: if she was assaulted, good on her for immediately reporting it. I think it's not great when an actress 20 years later then suddenly comes out and says, oh, I couldn't say anything before because I wanted to keep my career, but now I want to tell you how I've been horribly assaulted. It's like it doesn't mean she hasn't been assaulted, but it means like, well, why didn't you speak up then? You essentially let a guy like get away and go assault other women. Arden, Stormy is choked about the woke Hellraiser stuff. Oh yeah, well, I don't know. That's a weird movie to make woke. That's a strange movie to make woke. But anyhow, what I heard through reading some articles and some of the commentary, the deal was they were in a Uber, I think, or some kind of rideshare thing, and then he was on his phone. His girlfriend spotted text from another girl, or thought she did, and then they got into a fight, and he pushed her hand away, or gave her a little like get off my phone kind of thing, and then I don't know, maybe it escalated or maybe it didn't. Maybe she's exaggerating, maybe he is. JC, she freaked out on him for getting text from another woman, and he beat and strangled her, allegedly. Maybe he did. You know, maybe he didn't. I don't know. But like, this guy's a big guy. I mean, Arden, no, Tony. It's perfectly right to represent women. Why shouldn't they be represented as demonic torture machines? LOL. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like, woke Hellraiser, it's like, they're inhuman monsters. They don't, who cares what sex they are? But, okay. The Root Matt, Jonathan Majors is a dramatic person. Potentially. I mean, a lot of actors are. A lot of artists are. He's under a lot of pressure. Here's, in my wackier moments, this is what I think. Because I actually have a screenplay plot for something like this. The studios make so much money that I think in the old days what they had were, and this is true, they had studio fixers. They had guys, the Coen brothers did a movie about the studio fixers starring Josh Brolin. And their job was to get actors back under control. Like if they went out and got drunk and punched someone or did something untoward, they got them out of trouble. And they kept them from messing up their lives so the studio's movies would do well, essentially. I have a thought that they don't have studio fixers anymore because it's too heavy-handed. They'll get, they'll get arrested, or it's too heavy-handed to do that. So instead, I think what the studios do is I think they manipulate their actors. I really do. I think they set them up with spouses and girlfriends when they need to, and I think some of them are hired to help, essentially. And when they need to destroy somebody's career, they destroy it, and when they need to save it, they somehow orchestrate things to save it. Now, I don't think it's 100%. I'm not saying that this is the case with Jonathan Majors, but I think it's definitely in the mix. So the timing on this is weird, right? The timing is like, okay, the movie falls apart at Man 3, and now Disney is pulling back on a lot of stuff. How can they get out of it? How can they fire people and say, oh, we're not doing superhero movies anymore, and have it not be their fault? Well, one way is to point to Jonathan Majors and say, see, things were going great. Yeah, Ant-Man was weak, but Jonathan Majors and his problems, yeah, we can't do that movie. We're going to have to cancel it. Just saying. JC, Hellraiser was already kind of woke in a way. They were sexually ambiguous and pansexual, basically. JC reminds me of Hail Caesar was the name of the Coen Brothers movie. Yeah, it's good. It's a pretty good movie. It's an old Hollywood movie. I mean, it's not an old Hollywood movie. It's done in that style. Yeah, I don't know if the Hellraiser characters being sexually ambiguous was woke, because they weren't human. They were monsters from another dimension, essentially, and so like their sexuality was fairly superfluous, right? Because they're from hell. It doesn't matter. In hell, everything's terrible, and it's all torture and pain, and like, who cares about your sex? But the fact that they're making it a woman and making a big deal about it looks like they're trying to pivot to that. Like, oh, see, hell's inclusive. As if woke horror would be something. JC, I mean, I'd be stressed out if my meal ticket was falling apart like his was. I might be quick to violence. Yeah. Or he may have had a rep for that, and like the studio turned up the heat hoping to set him off, and then the Root Matt XD. So yeah, I mean, maybe they're looking to torch, essentially do what the mafia guys would do. Oh, there's no money in this warehouse. Oh, let's set it on fire and collect the insurance money, right? So they got to manipulate events. So, oh, yeah, Jonathan Majors, yeah, we had to let him go, and now we have no star for the next Kang movie. So that's all falling apart, and then maybe something else happens, too. But not the same. See, the smart thing is not to make it the same thing, right? You wouldn't want to have another guy get accused of sexual assault. So another actor, say like Samuel L. Jackson, who's, I think, important to that turn because Nick Fury's still in the mix. Maybe you kill him off at the end of Secret Invasion. You reshoot the final scene and then you kill him off. And like, oh, yeah, now we can't use him. Or you somehow give him another project and then like, oh, now he can't do it. Or you let him go to another studio. Or you make it so untenable for certain actors and directors to say that they quit. And then you're like, go to the shareholders and go, oh, geez, we can't do this Marvel stuff anymore. We're having so many problems. But it's not us. It's not our fault. All these problems happened. So that's just my theory. And I don't know. Knowing what I know about Hollywood, I don't think it's a bad theory. I don't think it's like they can manipulate all the actors or all the variables, but I think that's a possibility. So, but it also might mean that, I don't know, he's just lost his S and slapped his girlfriend around. Maybe he slapped her before and got away with it, and it was, that's another tactic, right? You have someone who's already compromised, and let's say they have a problem with either violence or drinking and drugs or sexual liaisons. You let them run amok, and then when you have to get rid of them, you go, oh, wait a minute. Look at all these times you ran amok. Oh, but you covered for me before. Yeah, we're not doing that now. Get lost. So I wouldn't put it past them, is all I'm saying. But the timing is weird. And looking at, again, the box office, Creed with Jonathan Majors also in it is doing okay. But Ant-Man 3 didn't. So think on this. The guys at, let's say, Disney, or with Disney's interest in mind, sabotage their own guy in order to stick it to the guys making Creed. So United Artists are stuck with a star that maybe they can't use, or is tied up in court and looks bad. Maybe it hurts their movie. Maybe that's why they did it. I'm just speculating. I'm not saying it's a thing. I know, it's like Hollywood conspiracy. I'm like the Alex Jones of Hollywood now. But we're talking millions and millions of dollars at stake. There are people in this world that kill you for $100. If you don't think they'd manipulate events for a few mil, I mean, come on. Think on it. Think about the money involved here. There's hundreds of millions of dollars at stake. Of course, they hire away people. They do nasty things. Sure, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they go further? Why wouldn't they have guys that they pay behind the scenes? The private investigator type guys who just, again, Hollywood fixers, but they're not officially with the studio. They're just paid. Ardent. They're putting chemicals in the water to turn the stars gay. Maybe. But yeah, so Jonathan Majors, on the upside for the studio, this issue will be resolved one way or another before the next movie comes around. So if they got to pay off his girlfriend, I'm sure they'll just pay her off. If they want to make the movie, unless she's like determined to ruin his career. Maybe she is. Maybe she's really mad. Maybe she's really a victim. Maybe she's exaggerating her story. I don't know. But, you throw somebody $3 million and, okay, $3 million. I could live the rest of my life on $3 million. What happened to me already happened. I can't change that. All I got to do is sign this NDA and I get $3 million. Think about it. I'd be hard pressed to turn that down. I'd be like, $3 million just to shut up about somebody beating me up. You ask a lot of people, would you let me beat you up for $3 million? They'd probably say, yeah, sure. How badly? Hey, you gonna put me in the hospital? No, just gonna slap you around. It'll be humiliating, and then you'll have to lie about it later that it didn't happen. Okay. A lot of people would say okay to that. Speaking of injuries, Jeremy Renner walks a new video of after his snowplow accident. Actor used anti-gravity treadmill. Not sure what that is. Is that like a space thing? Is that real? Oh, I guess, what is it, filled with water? Anti-gravity treadmill. Never heard of that. Maybe it like holds them in place? It's weird. Well, good on him for recovering. I'm glad he's recovering. Seems like a nice enough guy. I don't know. I don't know that much about him, but he seems fine. The weird thing about this story was the story came out and it was like he ran himself over with a snowplow or he was helping somebody or something. And then later it came out like his nephew was involved and he was really trying to help him. And I was just like, why didn't they start with that? Like, why did they wait? And it was like a couple of weeks before they like, oh yeah, by the way, he was trying to save his nephew. It's like, okay, that completely changes the story. Because the initial story was like, well, there were these guys and they were stuck in the snow and he got in a snowplow to help them and then jumped out of the snowplow and I guess it was still in gear and then ran over himself and then, which sounded stupid. And then like later it was like, oh yeah, he was trying to help his nephew. Like that made more sense. Like, oh my God, my nephew's, he doesn't see the snowplow and he jumps out like, no, get out of the way. And then, you know, so, and he got messed up pretty bad. So I don't know. The whole episode's just weird to me. I wonder if there's something else there, but again, I don't trust Hollywood. Like, did a fixer come in and say, ooh, we'll say you were trying to save your nephew and that'll make it better. Yeah, but it's been 2 weeks. Nobody's paying attention. PETA condemns horse death on Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power set, exploiting animals for their art. I also condemn the horse death on Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power, because I don't think anybody should have had to die for that show. Not a horse, not a fly. That is terrible. So, for once, I agree with PETA. Ugh. Ardent, Renner strikes me as one of the most self-aware Hollywood guys. Yeah, it seems that way. But that could be his image. But he seems down to earth. I haven't heard anything negative about him. So that's a good sign. I mean, it's weird though. These days I'm so skeptical of anything in the press. And I've always been skeptical of entertainment press because they're just, I think, absolute liars sometimes. But, oh, here's more. Jeremy Renner. More on Jonathan Majors. God, Hollywood Reporter. Why don't you just cut and paste the articles from Variety? Or vice versa. I don't know. Arrested Development. Netflix gains exclusive streaming rights to all seasons. If anybody cares about that. Gwyneth Paltrow grilled on witness stand after ski crash trial. This is very weird. It seems like Kite. I've been saying Kyle, sorry. I get the feeling the nephew was in the snowplow. Renner got out to move something. The kid moved something and doesn't want to seem neglectful. Oh, that could be. That could be. But, I mean, I don't think anybody would blame a kid. Although, I mean, if he was like 15, you might blame him a little, but I don't think it was on purpose, right? The studio fixer got to him. Kill Jeremy Renner. Yes, sir. The plot to kill Jeremy Renner. But Gwyneth Paltrow is being sued for $300,000, which seems like chump change for her, right? She's got to be worth a boatload. Let's see. I'm going to check. Gwyneth. Oh, there it is. Gwyneth Paltrow. Net worth 2023. It's $200 million, according to this article from Distractify. There's a reliable source. Because of her cosmetic line. Oh, it doesn't say. This one's, it's a terrible one. Celebrity net worth. This is the one I laugh at. Yeah, $200 million, according to that. I don't know how accurate. The Root, Matt, XD. Ardent. Lady Gaga is playing Harley. Big inhale. F. Yeah, like, you're worth $200 million and you're actually going to go to court for $300,000? Wouldn't you just pay the guy off? Wouldn't you just say, you know, look, sign an NDA. Hell, I'd give him $500,000 if he just admitted, no, it was my fault. It was actually my fault. I screwed up, but Gwyneth Paltrow is nice enough to give me $500,000 for no reason. Ardent, lots of money in snatch candles? Apparently. Apparently so. But getting back to Lady Gaga. Oh, here it is. Let's see the set photos of Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. There she is. Amazing. I guess. Kite. I think they'd blame Renner's neglectfulness. Oh, I see what you're saying. In Hollywood, it's better to seem like an idiot at first and then a hero than neglective. Yeah, point. Oh, there it is. Oh, I mean, I don't know. Look, I'm just going to say it. Lady Gaga's face is not great. Okay? She's got a smoking body, don't get me wrong, but face-wise, yeah. It's not great. And this, I don't like this version of Harley, but Ardent, yuck. Yeah, I mean, this is quite a step down from Margot Robbie, but I guess it's more 70s, and that's kind of where the Joker takes place. It's not really 70s, though. Ardent, also yuck, yuckity yuck. To me, like, the whole musical thing, I don't know, man. If it was anybody other than Todd Phillips directing it, I'd be like, no way. But the guy came through once. I would give him a chance. So maybe he's got a plan here. I don't know. The root mat, junkie. I think that's what she was going for, but to me, this doesn't even scream 70s. Like, Joaquin Phoenix outfit, to me, screamed 70s, and this is kind of doesn't. Kite. Looks like a regular Lady Gaga outfit. She isn't even trying to be the character. Well, they're, you know, the whole thing with Hollywood, it's like, oh, we got to do it differently. We got to do it differently. It's got to be different, super different. And this is like yet another, like, retrofitting of Harley, because Harley is younger than the Joker, right? Because at least the origin story, the original one for the cartoon, which they're kind of basing Harley on, was that Harley was his psychiatrist long after he was the Joker, and she was young and crazy enough to fall in love with him, and so she's kind of hot. In the cartoon, she's kind of hot and young. And it's the kind of thing where, like, she has the bad boyfriend gene. She's just in love with the wrong guy. And that's part of her character. This makes them more like equals in terms of their age. And, you know, I think it's more effective the other way. And so, plus Batman's, this is another not Batman show. God, I hate not Batman stuff, but the Joker's the rare exception. Joker was good. I did like the Joker. Yeah, but it's kind of a step down from Margot Robbie, who's so smoking hot. I like my, I could just watch her. Like, if Margot Robbie put out a movie and it was called Margot Robbie, My 10 Favorite Outfits, I might go see it. Plus, I'm in my underwear, I would definitely go see it. You know, Margot Robbie just like sitting on a silk bed, trying out different outfits. I'd probably go see that movie. You know, I mean, the thing about Lady Gaga, though, and I understand why they cast her, is because she can write the songs. And I'm sure the songs will be good. But, I don't know. Like, I hope this is a whole David Bowie rock opera kind of thing. That would be cool. Maybe the songs will be so good, I'll be like, oh, this was awesome. Ardent, I would love to see the Sword of Azrael on the big screen. Not a fan of Azrael. Never thought he was a great character. I I mean, there had a couple of moments where it could have been good in the comic, and they almost came through, but ultimately I felt like, eh, like it just never worked for me. So a lot of things in that comic run, that was when I was getting out of comics, so I was starting to get very tired of Batman. Again, not Batman. What I would like to see is if Todd Phillips is doing the Joker and now he's adding Harley, I would like to see the Joaquin Phoenix and now Lady Gaga go up against the Robert Pattinson Batman, but I don't think we're going to see that either. So, Ardent, how dare you? Well, Azrael came much later for me in the Batman run. I am more of a classic Batman fan of the Neil Adams type, when he was a detective and he was cut like Bruce Lee, and Robin was a distant memory and he had joined the Teen Titans and it was just Batman roaming around. Azrael was just like, okay. I mean, mainly I hated the art. I really hated the art in Azrael, and that hurt it for me because I was trying to get into it. I struggled to get into the story, but the art killed it for me. And I mean, I didn't mind the premise. I just felt like he got pushed into the job way too quick, and then like just passing by Dick Grayson at a time when like it would have been awesome to see Dick Grayson take over. It just would have been awesome. Ardent, granted, Asbats was terrible. Thank you. Excuse me. Now he's just an IP. I'm sure they'll bring him back. Don't worry. DC has him. I'm sure they'll dig him out and say, ooh, we own this IP. Let's do a movie. You know, because it'll be 10 years late. Everybody will be sick of superheroes and they'll be out of it. And DC Comics will still be chugging along going, ooh, more superheroes, please. They won't be making any money, but DC will put them out, I'm sure. Warner Brothers, oh yeah, let's do another superhero movie. That's the way I see it. They followed the comics perfectly. Marvel does something, DC Comics did it 10 years after. Ooh, this was popular 10 years ago. Let's do that. Ardent, yeah, they'll find a way to screw it up. Probably. Box office, John Wick 4 heads for series best, 70 million plus opening. Wow, that was the best movie out of the 4, huh? That's interesting. That unfortunately, that doesn't bode well that it'll be the last one. They're doing a spin-off, Ballerina. I don't think I have a headline here. But Anna de Armas is doing Ballerina, a spin-off of John Wick, where a hot chick kills a bunch of dudes. Oh, I guess this is the last movie? Permanently retiring Keanu Reeves Hitman. Okay. Maybe I'll say it then. Ooh, good news. Those of you who are older than me, ABC renews Grey's Anatomy for season 20. Oh, God. If you're a married couple, you know what that means. That's what you're watching. If you're a certain age. Amy Jo Johnson denies claims she didn't do Power Rangers reunion movie due to money. Maybe I just didn't want to wear spandex in my 50s. Yeah, that sounds like something. Sure. I don't think I was just talking about spandex today. We were at the show and there were some people wearing spandex who they're way too heavy to be wearing spandex, and we were like, oh, come on. And I said, there'd be no way you'd see me in spandex. And I understand the comedic version of spandex. Like if I was doing a comedy bit, maybe, but they're not doing comedy. They were trying to be superheroes. And I'm just like, yeah, that's not a good look. Bill Zemi dies, author of Frank Sinatra, Andy Kaufman biographies, was 65. He had a long battle with, colorectal cancer. Oh, brutal. Twitter is now worth $20 billion less than half its purchase price, Elon Musk claims to his tax accountant, oh, he'll write off that loss. There's no problem with that. With the kind of taxes he pays, oh, he can write off that loss. Absolutely. But I think he's turned it around a bit. Twitter's much better than it was. I mean, it's not great. It never was great. It was always stupid. But at least now it's not that annoying. I'm doing some advertising. I may actually buy the check mark if I can scrape up the money. If I don't go broke before that, I might scrape up the money and buy it. But he's got a 1-year offer, $84. You know, $7 a month. I guess it's not bad to pay for something I got for free. But if it was anybody other than Elon running it, I'd be like, F you. But I don't know. He seems to be running it well. Or better, I'll say. U.S. Army pauses multi-million-dollar ad campaign featuring Jonathan Majors after his arrest. Well, that's probably smart. Why is he in a multi-million-dollar ad campaign for the Army? It's weird. I guess he was the narrator? He was the on-screen narrator. Okay. Weird. Who would even know? I guess people would know his voice, but why would you spend that money, U.S. Army? Why? Who cares who does the voiceover? You could have gotten a nobody with a baritone voice go, be all you can be in the Army. It's great. Go die in a foreign war for your country. And, by the way, we'll tell you to be very, very woke. Ardent. Yeah, Elon's Twitter is way better than it used to be. Wow. This is how stupid the U.S. Army is, that they would bother to pay Jonathan Majors millions of dollars, I assume, to do a voiceover for a commercial. That they could have hired anybody. That no one would care. Like, who in their right mind would be sitting in the movie theater watching the U.S. Army ad and going, well, I wasn't going to join the Army. Nah, this ad's not really convincing me. Ooh, is that Jonathan Majors' voice? Is that Kang's voice? I am going to join the Army. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. Like, if he was in it and they did a little story about him, I don't know, jumping over the trenches, attacking our enemies, maybe. But yeah, I just don't see the point of spending an extra $1 on an ad recruiting people, unless you're gonna use that really cool one from the 90s of that Marine with the sword and he fights the dragon and then he turns into a Marine at the end, like the lightning comes down. That one was pretty cool. But you didn't need a celebrity for that. Celebrities are done. Like, nobody cares about celebrities anymore. Because they do podcasts, and we see them every day, and they're annoying. Like, Brie Larson, again, couldn't have handled things worse for her stardom than to go online and say and do things that annoyed everybody, in my view. Ardent, instant recruitment bump. Join the Army. Never pay taxes again. Well, that would be a reason to join. But they'd probably renege on that too. We've screwed over the veterans in almost every war we've ever launched. It's just unfortunate, but it's true. Ardent, I remember that Marine ad. Yeah, you can only keep screwing over the veterans. People just don't want to join the Army. Who wants to join the Army and be lectured by some woke idiot? And then be told, well, you don't get a promotion because we have equity quotas or whatever. Do you understand where you recruit from? Hello, Deep South? You're going to tell these guys, we got to make you equitable. DEI and critical race theory. Oh, okay. Yeah, sign me up. I came here to shoot people, and you people are just annoying me. Not to mention all the triggered millennials who would sign up and be like, this isn't what I wanted. I want a private bathroom. I'm triggered. I have a mental illness. You have to respect my mental illness. More on Jonathan Majors. And more on that horse dying. Adele plans concert films, extends Las Vegas residency at Caesars Coliseum, added 34 dates, everybody. So if you're going to Vegas and you want to hurt your ears, there you go. Ardent. IIRC, Angry Cops, did a vid about the VA starting to means test their beneficiaries. Kite. Wouldn't that just be Starship Troopers? Service guarantees citizenship, though I shouldn't say that. The woke may get ideas. Yeah, it kind of is. But, you know, it kind of wouldn't be a bad idea to a certain extent. Or you have to serve to vote, something like that. But I don't know. We have a system. We had a system that was working fine until the woke came in. What we had to do is remove the woke. This idea that we have to oh no, we got to reform everything. No, we had to go back. We have to go back in time to, I don't know, 2007-ish? When things were normal? Anything before, say, 2015? When things were relatively normal? On that front? We need to purge the woke from everything government related. They all have to leave. They all have to be fired, every single one of them, and never to be listened to again. The Root Map. Viva Las Vegas. Arden at Kite. Nah, the woke don't believe in privileging people based on actual merit. That's the problem. Got to go back to a merit-based system. So, what did we talk about? We talked about Scream, 8.4 million. And number 5, 65, 3.2 million. This movie didn't look like anything. And it only made 27 million. It has a lot of effects in it. I don't know. I don't think that's money. Ant-Man and the Wasp, down to 6, made 2.4 million. That's 209 million. I'm not sure what the international is anymore. But they say it lost money. I don't know what they spent on it, but Cocaine Bear, 62 million. Did 2 million this weekend. 62 million total domestically. It has no international box office. Although I'm not sure why. I think people might actually like this movie in other countries. It's not very funny. I mean, it's got a few amusing moments. I think people would like it. It'd be like a horror movie. You know, you could promote it that way. I mean, I don't know if China would be into it, but certainly other countries would. Anyhow, 62 million is probably money because I don't think they spent a ton of money on that movie, judging by the third act. But Jesus Revolution, which is now being touted by every right-wing media organization as the next coming, literally, is 8 with 2 million. 49 million domestic. I mean, it's doing okay. It's Lionsgate. The Root Mat, it's 320 in London. Again, watch out for the Ripper. Number 9 is Champions. That did not do well at all. It's hovering at 13 million. It did 1.5 this weekend. It's a shame. It didn't look awful, but Kite at Ardent. I feel like they'd let off anyone ideologically complaint automatically and use it as a woke training camp. Probably. Ardent, 2350 in Newfoundland. That is 10 of midnight. Right? Yeah, 10 of midnight. Number 10 is Avatar at 1.4 million. Kite, force the non-woke in as a way to have any rights. Force the non-woke in as a way to have any rights. Yeah, no, here's the thing about woke people. They just want attention. And if you stop giving them attention, they either change their ways, they go away, or they turn on to something else to get attention. I was talking to a guy, my friend, at the show today, because we had a bit of a downtime today. And I said, the same people who are woke now, the same kind of people, and the same people, back in the Bush era, they were super pro-American. They talked about, we got to fight them over there so they don't come over here. Terrorists are everywhere. We have to watch out. I have to get a bunch of stuff and insulate my home in case the anthrax comes. I mean, they were just as nutty, except they weren't woke. They were talking about terrorism like it was an everyday event. Terrorism could come anywhere. It could come to our town. We need bazookas on our helicopters. I mean, this is the way people talked during the Bush administration. They passed around money. Ardent, so like a toddler. Exactly. They threw money at everything, and it was all an excuse to grab power, to grift money, to, Donald Rumsfeld famously announced the anthrax attack from the potential of an attack of anthrax from Iraq with mobile labs. I think he announced part of it, which was interesting because he owned a great stake in the company that made the a shot that you give yourself if you're exposed to anthrax. And it was selling like hotcakes. Ardent, I'll take a bazooka chopper. Oh, you can't have it, but don't worry, we're going to give it to the idiot police in your neighborhood so they could fly around with it and train on it. Oopsie, didn't mean to blow up your house, but we're training. This is what they were doing. And once you give local cops these kinds of weapons, first, depending on your local cops, they often don't have the security to keep those weapons secure. So, and there was a story of, I think a bazooka fell off the truck, if you know what I'm saying. Number two, if they did use the damn thing, they could blow up someone and kill them. Because they're stupid and they're overpowered sometimes. At least back in the 2000s, early to mid to 2000s, these people were running amok with their, we're going to kill the terrorists. If a terrorist comes to Kentucky, I'll be ready. Ardent, I was working in a post office during the anthrax scare. Oh no. LOL, African curry turns out to be very similar color. That was a fun drop package day. Oh, Jesus, man. Well, I don't live very far at all from the first post office that got hit by the anthrax. The one that was in the news was in New Jersey. And I go to that post office on occasion because it's the hub for South Jersey, or part of South Jersey. So I would go there if I wanted to get a package or mail sent quicker. I could go there and shave off a day because it's just a short drive for me. So, yeah. Kite. I mean, that's what Works would do, or Wokies would do, if they did a, quote, service guaranteed citizenship system. They'd force people who are non-woke into the army as a forced education camp to earn minimal rights. Yeah, I don't know. I'm more of a voluntarist. I don't agree with that. I mean, it seems on its surface a good idea, but I think what you would do is degrade the army and the readiness. I think what the number one thing that needs to happen. Boy, we're getting into politics now. Ardent, LOL, that'll clench your sphincter. Yeah, no kidding. The number one thing we need to do is de-escalate everything, right? We need to get out of the Ukraine and forget it even existed, and forget we sent them billions of dollars. In fact, we ought to sue them to get it back, but that'll never happen. We ought to call it a peace, call it a war, try to... Oh, the root Matt has to go. Bye, Matt. Sorry, I'm running a little late here. So we have to get Get that out. Get that out. Done. Be done with the Ukraine. Next thing we got to do is start dismantling some of these air bases around the world that we do not need. Probably most of them. About the only ones we need are, maybe we need to keep a couple of naval stations as refueling points to keep the sea lanes open. And that's about it. We need to cut way back on that stuff. And we'll be forced to either way. I mean, if the economy collapses, we'll be forced into it. And then what's going to happen? Well, China will be running part of the world, and Russia will be running part of it, and India, and everybody else. So good luck getting certain items. We're going to have to start making things here again. In other words, we need a Trump platform again. We got to start making stuff here again. We got to stop all these wars. We got to have peace. And we got to, start making money again. Because that's how you win wars, with money. You don't win wars by bankrupting yourself and just pouring money on problems. And unfortunately, that seems to be the plan on every Democrat I've ever met. Oh, you know what the problem is? You don't have enough money. Here. We'll just give you money. And that makes problems go away. No, that makes your problem go away as a politician, because you could say, well, I gave them money. It's not my fault. It was completely wasted and was counterproductive to the problem. I gave them money. Anyhow. At number 11, Puss in Boots is still hanging on, $840,000. That did well. $184 million domestically. Number 12, debuting, A Good Person. Which one is this? I think I've seen the trailer for this. Maybe I haven't. Follows Allison, whose life falls apart following her involvement in a fatal accident. Kite. Yeah, Ukraine just seems like a money weapon laundering scheme. All these funds and weapons, and they haven't won yet. Seems like BS. Yeah, they're not meant. It's not meant to win. We've always been at war with Eurasia. Yeah, they're funneling money to themselves, to contractors. They're testing weapons. They're doing all these things. And in the end, they're going to do what I'm saying anyway. They're going to declare peace. When they're done with it, when it becomes politically radioactive, they'll declare peace. They'll say, oh, it's we cut a deal. This is best for the Ukraine people. It'll probably be a horrible deal for them. They'll all get screwed. They'll lose a bunch of land to the Russians, and we'll call it a victory. And I guess the Democrats will say, see, we did a great thing. And then neo-Nazis will overrun the Ukraine. That's my prediction. Kite. If money made problems go away, schools in some black neighborhoods would make the smartest kids instead of being high crime. LOL. They don't even give that. The problem is it's just so corrupt in those cities where you have, high crime and whatnot. It's not even about race per se, but it's just, they just waste the money. And John Adams is here. He says, you seem a bit down in your trailer reviews lately. Doing well? I am, John Adams, but over the last 2 days I was tired because I did a convention. So I did those trailer reviews like at night, the night before, and I was a little tired because I was like, oh, I should do my trailer tonight instead of trying to do it tomorrow, because I thought I would be better. So I'll be better after I get a good night's sleep tonight. Ardent. Canada's foreign minister said the regime change in Russia is the end goal of the Trudeau admin, as if we don't live next door. Yeah, that is a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. Because the question is, who would take over for Putin? It would probably be a guy who's worse. If you force the regime change, you're not going to have a guy who goes, ooh, I love Canada and the United States. They put me into power. So if that's true, if he said something like that or was one of those guys, he wouldn't be legitimate in the eyes of his own people, and it's likely he won't be. He'll be even worse than Putin. He'll be more of a dictator. He'll be more hardcore, because that's how you beat Putin on his home turf. You say, oh, he's not strong enough to these Western devils. John Adams, glad to hear. Howdy, Art. John Adams. Good to see you. Number 13, The Lost King, also premiered. Did I see this one? Oh, yeah, I did see this trailer. God, this just came out. This is an amateur historian defies stodgy academic establishment in her efforts to find King Richard III's remains, which were lost for over 500 years. Yeah, this is based on a true story, and I think Jackie Coogan's in it. But it's not, it doesn't look that funny, and he's not the star. Kite. Yeah, it's not about the race. I was using it as an example because they like throwing money at them. Poor, quote, poor black neighborhoods need help. Then the money goes poof. Yeah, I mean, it's just a big mess. It's, again, like, I'll tell you what they do every year in Philly. Every year, they say, oh, we can't fund the schools by millions of dollars. And meanwhile, they did all these other programs in the city, like they built like a skating rink for Christmas at City Hall, and they did all these like frivolous things that are supposed to be helping the city. But obviously, if you can't fund your schools, you shouldn't blow that money on anything but the schools. But instead, they blow all that money, and then they turn to the state and say, oh, God, we have a shortfall. Give us more money. And then the state says, well, we have to give you money because it's education. And that's the law. And we can't have children running around in the streets naked, or, you know, we can't have kids going to school with asbestos in their schools, or the school's falling apart, or the teachers are all dead, or whatever. So they go, oh, okay. So essentially, what a lot of these democratic cities do is they spend wildly on things that they want to, and they take that money from the very necessary things that they know they can hold the state hostage to fund. Then they go to the state legislatures and they say, we need money. And then what does the Pennsylvania state organization does? The state government do? Well, they say, yeah, you need money. Pittsburgh needs money. It's so weird. All our major cities have shortfalls this year. Well, we don't have the money either. We got some of it, but we don't have enough. Excuse me, federal government. We had a shortfall too in our state. But we did all these nice things that Pete Buttigieg told us to do, like getting rid of racist roads or whatever. So give us more money. And then the Biden administration goes, you need more money. Is that all? Well, let me talk to Janet Yellen. Janet Yellen. And she goes, oh, let me turn the printer back on. And that's how we pay for all the stuff that cities waste money on. Ardit. Oh, yeah, Putin goes, and it's Noriega in a fuzzy hat. Yeah. It's going to be bad. Not that I'm a fan of Putin. He's a thug. But he's a reasonable thug. You know, yeah, he's a mafia boss, but you can reason with mafia bosses. If they're making money, it's all good. You know? And you can't go from Putin to a friendly president guy who runs his country just like the United States. And here's the clincher. If you could, the United States would never allow that to happen, because the last thing they want is for the Russians to run their country exactly like the United States. Because if they did, they'd bury us economically. Because then money would explode out of Russia. And they're kind of doing it, but they're not doing it. They're so corrupt, they can't quite do it as well as we do. We're pretty corrupt too, but we're not nearly as corrupt as Russia. Like, Russia's like way corrupt. And Russia's not nearly as corrupt as the Ukraine. Like, the Ukraine is insanely corrupt. I think it was rated the most corrupt country in the world. So, like, all you'd have to do in Russia is say, you know what? We're going to open up all the markets. Do whatever you want. Start any business you want. We're not going to tax you. make all the money you want, mine all the gold you want, mine all the bit gold you want. I mean, if he opened it up like that, they would bury us because they have all the room and all the land to develop. And they would. They would develop the F out of it. And then the United States would be like, oh, we have to nuke these people. Aren't it? If the thing a lot of people fail to realize is that Putin had to be a ruthless bastard in order to get control of the country back from the oligarchs that were just running it after Yeltsin. Yeah, to some extent he did, sure. And he's a former KGB guy, so he knows what he's doing in that area. But, yeah, he ain't going to open it up like a libertarian would. But if he did, he'd bury us. And again, the United States wouldn't stand for it. They'd kill him if they had to. The United States would either kill him or try to kill him or do something to stop the Russians if they were actually going to institute a bunch of libertarian policies that would turn the boat around on the economics. But they've already kind of done that in Russia and in China. Not so much China. China's fallen apart. But in Russia, he's buying gold. So are the Chinese. They're doing things that are smart economically. We're doing stupid things that are not smart economically. But you get a guy like Trump back in and turn the boat around, instantly we're back on top because we already have the infrastructure to work that way. And we have much less corruption. Even though we have some, within a matter of a few years, we'll be right back on top. But if you're betting against the United States, you're not going to win that bet. So the guys who are betting against the United States want us in decline because they're managing the decline and making billions on it. Anyhow, sorry, ranting. 14, Everything Everywhere All at Once. About $500,000. This movie did maybe okay at $76 million. I don't think it cost too much to shoot. Number 15 is Moving On. Did $1.6 million. Oof. That is not money. Number 16, The School of Magical Animals. Did $150,000. Never heard of this movie. Must be a kid's movie. Yeah, it looks that way. The Quiet Girl, number 17, did 1.2 million total. Not doing well. Inside, number 18, is not doing well. Hasn't even broken $1 million. Oof. Return the Soul, 19, $500,000. Not doing great. Number 20, The Whale, made $17 million, probably isn't money. Premiere Tori and Lakita. It's a foreign movie. Heart-stopping thriller that casts an unflinching eye on the trials of young and the dispossessed. Okay. Number 22, Violent Night is still in theaters for some reason. That's they already got a sequel, so I guess it made money. Number 23, premiering Nam June Palik. Moon is the Oldest TV, made 10 grand. I don't know what that is. Number 24, The Fire Devils, made $8,666. Okay. Seems very low. Why are these even on the list? What the Hell Happened to Blood, Sweat, and Tears made $5,093. I kind of like the name. It sounds like Blood, Sweat, and Tears was a group. It was a rock band, I think. So, I guess that's a documentary. Why even put it on the list at $5,093? It's in one theater. I don't think you should put them on the list, Box Office Mojo, but it's the only list we got right now. I got to find a new list. Couple more headlines I wanted to get into. HBO Max reportedly pulls a second Scooby-Doo project from service mid-production. Get this. They're still going ahead with Velma again. So Velma gets a second season. Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Pups is getting pulled. Doesn't sound very good, but I bet it's better than Velma. But yeah, they're pulling the plug on that. Zachary Levi takes a shot at DC and the Snyderverse fans when addressing negative Shazam Fury of the Gods reviews. He keeps blaming the marketing. I don't know, man. It seems weird. Ardent, I think it's ironic the Five Devils had made $666. Yes. Yes, I agree. Why? The Mandalorian EP Dave Filoni confirms Disney Star Wars timeline always go out to Rise of Skywalker. Look, can we just be done with Star Wars? Can we all be done with Star Wars yet? Just so done. Rumor Disney Plus Indiana Jones series scrapped so Lucasfilm can focus on Star Wars. Probably a good idea. Ardent. WTF is wrong with these actors? Do they not know what it means to bite the hand that feeds them? They absolutely do not, because I think they're just too isolated. And their contracts are very ironclad these days, at least the ones yapping their gums, I think. Was there one more thing? More on Jonathan Majors. Hannah John Kamen confirms Marvel's Thunderbolts. I think this is not a good idea. Thunderbolts. I don't think anybody's going to understand it. I don't understand why they're doing it. Netflix anime unleashes Gamera Rebirth trailer. Might look at that. And the big story this week was Victoria Alonso being fired. And they're blaming her for a lot of the woke stuff, and apparently she instituted a ton of it. Very woke and arrogant, seemingly, from what I've read and seen. But now she's out, and this apparently shook Disney to their core. I think they're in real trouble when they have to fire someone like this. It's likely they're going to get sued, but I think they positioned her in such a way that this is just bluster, because they actually fired her for different reasons. They didn't just fire her because she's woke. They had like real cause in her contract. They pulled. Ardent, Thunderbolts? How? There's no good villains left. Yeah, exactly. Like, the whole Thunderbolts initial thing was, it was a big reveal, right? For those of you who don't remember, when Kurt Busiek, I think, was the one who wrote it, the idea was a mysterious new team, superhero team, shows up in the Marvel Universe, and then the big reveal is, it turns out there are a bunch of villains pretending to be superheroes. And they kept that a secret, and it went over pretty big in the comic book world. But then it was over. And then they said, oh, everybody likes Thunderbolts. Let's keep it going. So eventually they swapped out some of the characters, and I guess some of the villains became good guys. And I don't know, they tried to keep the thing going. Now it's just another IP on the pile of IPs at Marvel. So it's still going. And now they're making a TV show out of it. But it has nothing to do with that initial story I just described, my understanding. So what's the point? What's the point? Ardent, Knights of the Zodiac might be decent. I'm not sure. Maybe? I mean, it looks crazy. Ardent, Thunderbolts was the Marvel version of the Suicide Squad. Yeah, kinda. But I don't think it was meant to be an ongoing thing. I think once that initial story was over, they should have just canned it and said, all right, that's done. That went well. Let's do a different one. Like the Suicide Squad, again, and just like Thunderbolts, it's a downstream thing. But they could do a Marvel Suicide Squad better than they could a Marvel Thunderbolts. Just basically steal the same concept if they wanted. But it's not comics. Like, movies are not comics, and some concepts just aren't going to work, I think. Here's the John Wick spinoff with Ana de Armas. God. Woohoo! John Wick spinoff movie Ballerina, which stars Ana de Armas as an assassin looking to avenge her family. I don't care. What? I'm sorry. I stopped reading. Yeah, sign me up. Gets an estimated release date window. I'm liking the window on that dress, I'll tell you that. I mean, Ana de Armas, again, like Margot Robbie, could pretty much be on the screen for 90 minutes trying on hot outfits. And I'll be like, sounds like a good movie. Sounds like a good plot. And this is another thing I'm barely wearing. So looking forward to that. More on Creed from the New York Post. Yep, that was about it. All right, I think we're going to wrap it here. Let's wrap it on Ana de Armas's cleavage, so to speak. Boobs, exactly. And all my viewership just spiked. Ooh, he's talking about boobs. Really? Oh, that live stream sounds cool. Right, Joan? So, yeah, I'm going to wrap it here. Final thoughts. Movies seem to be back a little bit. Because the numbers... I'm going to have to click away from boobs. Sorry. The numbers are now higher for more movies. So more movies are still making millions of dollars downstream. So I think people are coming back to the movie theaters. Not as strong as they were. This isn't nearly as strong as it was. So, like, let's just look back. Can we look back by year? Yeah, let's go back. Let's see if I can go back like a year. The Lost City, the Batman. No, I want to go back. Go back a whole year. Let's see. Calendar grosses overview. No, I have to find a way to do that. But I bet if you went back 5 years ago, it'd be much bigger. Kite, ha ha ha. Ardent. Small ones are okay to learn on, Tony. It's true. Oh, okay. Here we go. Let's go back, say, 5 years to 2018. The total gross of movies in 2018 was $11 billion. Is that billion? Yeah. And this year, well, last year it was $7 billion. So look at 5 years prior. So got all these movies. 700 million, 600, this is all domestic. 678 million. 600 million. 400 million. 300 million, 300 million, 270, 200. Here's Ant-Man and the Wasp, 216. Bohemian Rhapsody, 216. And this was when movie theaters were cheaper. The movies were actually cheaper, so more people were going to see movies. 200, 200, 200, 200. Even Solo did 200 million. That movie sucked, in my view. Venom. Ralph Breaks the Internet. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. 2018 was The Last Jedi? Yeah, I guess so. Was that on the list? I didn't even say it. Let's go back. Let's go back further. Let's go back 10 years to 2013. It's Iron Man 3, 400 million. Hunger Games, almost 400 million. Despicable Me, 367. Man of Steel, 291. Again, the yearly gross in 2013 was 10 billion. So, like, from 2009 to 2019, for 10 years, the overall gross in a year was $11 billion from movies. 11 billion. And then 2020, 2 billion. 2021, 4 million. In 2022, 7 million. So it's climbing back up, but I think you got a long way to go before you get back to 11 billion. and movie tickets are more expensive. So you really got to go to like 15 billion to reach the same amount of people, I would say, right? Because movie tickets are more expensive than they were in 2019. And I don't know. It might struggle to get there. We're at $1.6 billion this year. It's March. It's almost the end of March. So let's be generous and say 1.8 billion in 3 months. Times 4 would be again about what this is in 2022, about 7.3 billion. So right now we're just treading water 4 billion under what we were doing 5 to 10 years ago. That's not good. That's not good. We need to get this total up. Now the summer hasn't hit yet. And the releases, there were more releases. So you can see here, the last good year, 910 releases, almost 900 releases all those years. Revenge of the Sith was almost 20 years ago. So, I mean, I think it's slowly climbing back. Maybe this year we hit 8 billion, but I don't know. We'll see. The number one release this year, Avatar: The Way of the Water. Probably won't change. Last year, Top Gun: Maverick. Year before, Spider-Man: No Way Home. Year before that, Bad Boys for Life? Huh. Weird. 2019, the last good year, Avengers Endgame. Before that, Black Panther. 2017, The Last Jedi. 2016, Finding Dory. Wow. 2015, Jurassic World. 2014, Guardians of the Galaxy. Well, there's a good one. 2013, Iron Man 3. Wow, I didn't realize it did that well. That was the number one release in 2013. I like that movie. I think people hate it, but I liked it. Avengers in 2012. 2011, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. I know I'm going on. 2010, Avatar. Regular Avatar. I hated that movie. 2009, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. 2008, The Dark Knight. 2007, Spider-Man 3. 2006, Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest. And there's Revenge of the Sith in 2005. So yeah, almost 20 years ago. Shrek 2 in 2004. Finding Nemo in 2003. Spider-Man in 2002. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone 2001. Iron Man 3 made over $1 billion, I remember. JC says. Get the F out of here. Let me see that. Did it make that kind of money? That might be worldwide. Yeah, it did. 1.2 billion. I like this movie. I love Shane Black, though. He directed it. And I think he wrote it. Or he probably co-wrote it. I am totally all about Shane Black. But yeah, you go back. JC, yeah, worldwide. You go back in time. Here's the 80s. The 80s, you know, the box office was like $3 billion. But you go back to 1981, it wasn't even $1 billion. The biggest movie of 1981 was Superman 2. And there were only 56 releases. 56 movies that year. The next year was big, 132. They're putting out 900 movies now. They're putting out, or at least in 2019, they put out 910 releases. This year they're up to 170, but they're probably going to be, they're not going to be at 900. JC, Iron Man 3 was fun in the theater until you thought about the plot and it fell apart. Shh, don't think about it. Ardent, favorite Shane Black film? Ooh. I like them all. at some level or another. Although I didn't see the Predator movie. Um, uh, hmm. Favorite one. I don't know. I guess I got to say possibly Kiss Kiss Bang Bang because I really like that movie. But I do really like The Long Kiss Goodnight. And I think The Last Boy Scout is highly underrated. And then there's Lethal Weapon. Boy, I don't know. I guess The Long Kiss Goodnight or Kiss Kiss Bang Bang because it's just really I just really like that film. Has such a great opening with Robert Downey Jr. Just such a great opening. Easy, Joan. Easy. All right. My teeth are floating. I got to hit the bathroom, so I'm going to wrap it here. So this has been enlightening. Box Office Mojo and all the stats you have on how terrible the movie industry is right now. But again, I don't think we're going to get up to 900 releases this year. Oh, look at 2018, almost 1,000. Wow. We're only at 170, so 3 times that would be... So maybe we'll get up to like 500, 600 releases this year. That'll be a slight improvement, but I think the movie industry is still going to take it on the chin unless something really hits big or unless they cut their prices or do something. Do something to save this damn industry. If you want to make movies, if you want to have a movie industry. But these guys are greedier than the guys who sell weapons to the Ukraine, I think. So I wouldn't hold your breath. Later, Ardent. See you next week. Yeah, what's next week? Let me look at next week. Next week, my Sunday looks clear. Yeah, Sunday looks clear. I got a thing the day before. My next event will be on Thursday at the Florence, I believe it's the Florence Library in Florence, New Jersey. So hope to see you there. JC, most of those 900 movies were never meant to be more than take-up data on a hard drive somewhere. Yeah, I mean, the industry has changed in 2019, but still, it's like you go from making 900 movies to half that. That's a big drop. It's a big drop. And yeah, you're right. I mean, for me, it's not about the numbers either, but the industry is just like in denial. It's in such denial. It's got to get its mojo back. And it starts by telling China to go F itself. But they're addicted to the money. So they're not going to do that. They got to somehow take back their mojo from China, I think, and not be afraid to make movies that China may punish them over and say, hey, you need our movies more than we need your money. Even if that's not true, you have to like posture yourself that way, I think. Because I think to some extent the Chinese communists do need our movies because they need movies. People in China love movies. Movies are still huge in China, which is why they chase that box office, but you can make them want your movies more than that money. And if you can't, then you're just going to be their B. And then that's not going to work because eventually they're going to do what they did to you guys in the Legend of the Five Rings and the Eternals. They're just going to tell you, go pound sand. They want to take over the movie industry. And their next step is Jackie Chan's new movie, and Donnie Yen's going to have a new movie, and they're coming out of China, and they're high production value. And Donnie Yen and Jackie Chan have international name recognition. They have net recognition here, and their movies don't look horrible like most of the communist Chinese movies. And Jackie's getting old, and eventually they're just going to, if they're smart, the Chinese communists would say, here, Jackie, you run the movie industry now. Make good movies. And Jackie would know how to do it. And he'd stay there because he's kind of stuck there for a lot of reasons. And then Donnie Yen could be the next Jackie Chan. And he's already kind of there. So Hollywood should be very careful and not let the communists kind of bowl them over. They can destroy them in terms of quality still, but they gotta hold the line somewhere and stop doing all this woke crap. Anyhow, That's my rant. Listen to me, Hollywood. Listen, or they'll be playing this video years from now saying, you didn't listen to the great man with the tiny beard and the cute dog. JC, Jackie is a stuntman and almost 70 by now. Yeah, he's really looking his age. I just looked at Ride On, his movie, where he teaches martial arts to a horse. He's starting to show his age. Yeah, he's getting old. But he's still fun. I'll give him that. He still tries to keep it light and funny. I mean, doing a bit with a horse is kind of crazy. The horse drags him out of bed because he oversleeps. It's kind of a funny bit. I mean, it's cute. But, yeah, he's still kicking A. You know, he's not doing his stunts anymore, but he's too old. You know, but he's learned plenty. He's learned enough from being in American movies that he could just do. They could do American movies if you put Jackie in charge. Oh, he'll know how to greenlight movies. He'll say, no, you got to do it this way. But anyhow, that's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. Thanks for tuning in to the live stream, everybody. Next week, Sunday at 7, see me at the library, and we'll be back with, I can do my other videos for today. So if you want to see the really spicy stuff, get on Bitchute, Odysee, and Rumble for my spicier takes on the news and Hollywood. Also, don't forget to see me on Twitter now. I am on Twitter, by the way. So if you haven't connected to me on Twitter, search for me. Just search for my name, and it comes right up.